All right, guys, Darren from FBA Elite, and welcome back to another video. So earlier this week, someone asked me the question, what do I believe is the single most important factor to having a successful Amazon FBA business? So I've spent some time thinking about that over the past few days, and I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to share with you in this video. So I looked at all of the different successful Amazon FBA sellers that I know, and I looked at the attributes they have, and the one thing that stood out is they all had the right mindset. So what I want to do in this video is break that mindset down into 10 different areas that I believe all combined to give you the greatest chance of Amazon FBA success. So the first mindset tip that I want to look at, and that is emotional control. Now, I used to say remove all emotion when dealing with Amazon. However, that's not really realistic. We have a lot of money, a lot of time invested in this business. So it's very difficult to actually remove that emotion. So instead, I want you to focus on emotional control. Now, there are going to be situations where I do still want you to try to remove emotion completely. And that is normally when you're interacting with someone. So when you're contacting a supplier, maybe when you're responding to a customer that's got an issue, and most definitely whenever you are dealing with seller support, there is absolutely no benefit at all to include any emotion, despite how frustrating they can be. So try to maintain emotional control. There are going to be ups in your Amazon journey and there are going to be downs. It is inevitable, but the more that you can control your emotion, the higher your chances of success will be. Next up, we have patience. And again, this is something that I see with the most successful sellers. They are patient in all areas of Amazon FBA. Now, some of the people that I mentor, as you can imagine, come to me very excited. They've discovered Amazon FBA and they want to get things up and running as quickly as possible. And whilst that's great to have that kind of vigor and excitement about a new business, often the best thing to do is just slow down a bit and take some time. Do the relevant research, find the products, think about how you're going to improve that product, how you're actually going to afford to launch that product. But the more patience you can show, one, with actually developing the product in the first place, and two, once the product is live. That's another thing I see impatience with. People launch a product and within days are questioning whether it's going to work or not. They're going to blame the PPC. And sometimes it takes days or weeks to see results and lots of tweaking. So the more patient you can be with Amazon, the less likely you are to make bad decisions. And also it will stop you being so reactive, as you'll give things a chance to play out before you sit back, do your analysis, and then make changes as and when you should. Up next, we have perspective. Now, this is kind of a very general thing to say, but there's two perspectives that I want you to think about. One, the perspective that you have of Amazon, rather than seeing this as kind of a get-rich-quick scheme or the answer to all of your problems, just see it as part of the puzzle. Amazon is an opportunity to make money. It is as simple as that. It's never going to be probably one of those businesses that really gets you fired up, really gets you out of bed in the morning. It is very much, for me, just another avenue of making money. So put into perspective what Amazon actually means to you. The other perspective that I want you to consider at all time is the customer perspective. And this is super important when you're developing your product and your product listing. Always think about how your customer is going to see your product or see your product listing. Don't write it based on what you know about your product. Write it about how you think your customer needs to know. So write your listing with your customer in mind. So think about Amazon, put Amazon into perspective, and always think about your product from the customer perspective. For number 4, we have accepting mistakes and negatives. Now, there are going to be mistakes. It is going to happen. Whatever you do with any business, there will always be mistakes that you make, and there'll also be negatives. There'll be ups and downs as you go. And what I want you to do is actually use those opportunities. Those have always been the moments when I've learned the most. So whenever something has gone wrong, whenever I've made a mistake or something's gone wrong with my account or a product, that is when I have learned the most information. So never see anything that is bad with Amazon as a failure. It is only ever feedback. If a product fails, okay, you might see it as a product failure, but actually what it is doing is giving you information that will probably mean your next product has a much higher chance of success. For number 5, we need clear and flexible goals. So many people will come to me and when I ask them, what are your goals? They say, I want to make as much money as possible, as quickly as possible. And I think having a general goal like that isn't overly helpful. Instead, I'd recommend coming up with a clear goal. So maybe for your first product, you want it to make £1,000 per month. So you have a clear goal of what you are aiming for. Then I also want you to have that goal remain flexible. So I've seen people in the past where they haven't been flexible and it's actually been more damaging. So for example, if you had this goal that you want your one product to make £1,000 a month, and to do so, you needed to sell it at, $29.99. You're actually a few weeks into your business, you're seeing other people are selling a bit lower than that, but you need to sell at £30 to hit those figures. However, if you dropped by a couple of pounds, maybe you'd get the sales you need, maybe you wouldn't actually make £1,000 a month, but you'd make £700 a month or £800 a month. Now, in my eyes, that would still be a great success. So have goals, have clear goals, but also be flexible. Just because we talk about 30% profit margins and stuff like that doesn't mean that has to be the case for every single product. You might have products that have got a 10 or 15% profit margin at the end, but if the legwork that you put into them and the investment and you're happy with that, that's absolutely fine. So don't compare yourself to everyone else. Just have your own clear and flexible goals and know what is good enough for you. For number 6, we have diversify, and I banged on about this in many previous videos. I want you to diversify in 2 ways. One is your overall income, never become 100% reliant on Amazon. And 2, within Amazon itself, diversify your product range. So if you've got like a £10,000 budget, don't chuck it all in on one product. Spread that over 4 or 5 different products. Don't get too heavily invested in a single product because you've had an issue with the product. Maybe there's too much competition. Maybe the product stops selling. Maybe the product gets suspended. Who knows? But the more you can diversify your investment across multiple products, the less risk there is to your business if something goes wrong. And the same goes to your overall income. Do not become 100% reliant on Amazon, as anything can happen at any time with Amazon. And the last thing you want to do is lose 100% of your income. Now, number 7 will probably help with some of the other points. So if you plan for your worst case scenario, that will help you with your emotional control. That will help you with your patience. That will help you with your perspective. The way I always see it, there are kind of 2 worst case scenarios of Amazon. One is your account gets banned, in which case you then got to recall all of your stock and try and sell it via other means. Now, whether that's via another website or maybe you're just going to do a bulk load on eBay. But either way, always have that kind of worst case plan that your account gets banned and you cannot get it back. So that's worst case 1. Worst case 2 is a product fails. Now, usually in that scenario, you can probably dump the price a bit on that product, run an aggressive PPC campaign, and sell it through at break even or a small loss. But it should never be the case that you lose all of your investment as long as you've got these worst case plans in place. So if your account does get banned or a product does get suspended, you have ways of getting rid of that inventory and trying to reclaim as much of your investment as possible. For number 8, I want you to network. Now, whether this is via the FBA Elite forums, which I talk about in all of my videos, that's completely free. You can sign up and talk to over 2,000 Amazon FBA sellers there, or whichever means you prefer, but definitely get to know other Amazon FBA sellers. Only recently I've reached out to Jansen Smith, as you guys know, that I've worked with before, and asked him a couple of questions on areas that I knew he'd have knowledge of, I didn't know about. Also on the FBA Elite forums, like I said in a video a week or 2 back, one of the members on there helped me through something that I was struggling with. So network with other FBA sellers. Don't see all of us as competitors who actually we're all in this together. We're all competing against Amazon and these Chinese sellers. So build a nice network. So when you do, those questions do pop up, you've got someone to reach out to. For number 9, I want you guys to never stop learning when it comes to Amazon. Now, I've been in this game for over 2 years now, and probably on a weekly basis, I will find out new information. Now, I was reading a great book the other day, and there were kind of 3 ways to look at things. There are the things you know. There are the things you don't know. For example, I know at the moment, I don't know a huge amount about product variations, as I've never sold a product with variations. But there's also the things that you don't know. And that's where you need to really be careful. So never stop learning. And that's the good thing with FBA Elite and the mentorship stuff that I run, is that people will send me questions about a topic that actually I didn't even know that I didn't know about. So I then have to spend some time finding out about that topic so that I can then help them and help future users. So even if you have got a successful Amazon FBA business and you think you're quite comfortable with what you know at the moment, still be prepared to continue to learn, as Amazon is evolving all the time. They might announce new changes, or they might even make algorithm changes that they don't tell you anything about. But you still have to be aware that things will evolve, things will change, and you never stop learning if you want to stay at the forefront of Amazon and compete with the amount of sellers there are on the platform. And then finally, I want you guys to trust yourself. And this is something I covered in one of the videos on my other YouTube channel, actually, about the business mistakes that people make, is that you're going to do all of this research. You're going to never stop learning. You're going to network with other sellers. You're going to do everything that I'm going to recommend in this list, hopefully. But you're still going to doubt yourself. But you're going to have to get to a point at some stage where you trust yourself, where you do commit. You've done everything you can at that point, and then you have to have trust. You cannot go into this doubt on yourself. So trust yourself, do the research all in advance, learn everything you need to know. Reach out to me, reach out to other people. But if you can trust yourself, then your chance of success will be higher, as you won't be second guessing yourself at every single turn. And on the subject of trusting yourself, what better way to trust yourself than with the best Amazon software? This is what I use. If you're doing product research, if you're developing your listing and need to do keyword research, if you want to track your listings, if you want to track your organic ranks, if you want to monitor your listings from hijackers, you need to be able to trust your software as well. So I recommend Helium 10. There's some discount codes there if you guys want to give it a try. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the mindset is the #1 component when it comes to Amazon FBA success? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video and found it useful, I'd really appreciate it if you could take one moment, scroll down, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to discuss Amazon FBA with myself and over 2,000 other sellers, head to fbaelite.com, sign up. It's completely free, and I'll see you guys on the forums.